I've got Gabe here, who is an appliance flipper, and he's going to show you step by step how you can make money flipping appliances too. Hi, Gabe. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, great. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it. I want to kind of make this concise and have people get a lot of value on this. I know that you flip appliances, washers and dryers. You're making great money at it. A little bit of background, how you got started, and an overview of how someone else can get into this.
Alrighty. I got started in a weird way. We were buying storage unit auctions, kind of like that show just before the show came out. And washers and dryers are a very common thing to get in those. And we would get those. We had a storefront at that time and sell those. And then that show came out pretty hardcore and it kind of knocked that business out. We got out of the building we were in and we were kind of reassessing. At least I was reassessing. I had a partner at that time, my brother. And I was reassessing what actually made money, what made sense in that store. And the one answer that did come up was washers and dryers sold quickly and made a lot of money quickly. And after that, I decided, let's see if I can just flip them. At that time, Craigslist was still a big thing. In my area, it's now dead. I don't know if it's your way, but they're pretty much dead now. But back then, there was a Craigslist that was about 60 miles from me, and there was one in my town. And my town was a smaller Craigslist. So I would go to the one that was 60 miles away. I'd bring a trailer down with me. I'd buy all the ones that were in the $100 range, and I would just flip them. So I'd pick them up in my trailer. I'd go down 60 miles. Anyone that had a decent deal, it was a gigantic Craigslist down there. I'd pick up for the day, maybe bring 10 back home, clean them up, put a warranty on them, and resell them for 200. So just double my money on them. That was how I started. I recommend people start off that way.
So if somebody wants to do that, they pick up an appliance, let's say they get it for 25, 50 bucks. What do you do at that point? Do you test it out and make sure it's working? How do you make sure it'll work for the person, especially if you're putting a warranty on it?
I do now. I don't, I no longer flip in that way. I only buy broken and repair and then resell because the price I can get broken for is so much less. Like before I was paying, sometimes you would get a good deal. You get them for 50 bucks, but that was very rare. But on a regular basis, I can get them for 100 versus broken. I can get dryers. I pay 15 and washers. I pay 20. And a lot of times it's the exact same problem that happens over and over and over again. So you get very good at the fix. I can fix one in less than 30 minutes. And now I have 30 minutes in it and I paid $15 for it. And usually the parts are dirt cheap on some machines. They'll be 5 to 20 bucks for most parts. And I'll have a lot less money on them. And, it's just a faster way to go. And they get brought directly to me because I have scrappers bring me stuff. So literally they'll be dropped off at my shop versus me driving to the coast. So that's now my new method is I only buy broken.
So if somebody wants to start this, what's the easiest way for them to find these appliances?
Scrappers is the best way. Those guys you always see around that have a truck full of metal, approach them. I literally have business cards that say I pay more than scrap metal for washers and dryers. And I will, anytime I see them, I'll hand it out. But you only really need a handful of those guys. You'll be handing out tons of cards, but at the end of the day, you'll have maybe 4 that will be bringing you tons and tons of business. Also, I don't know, every place is different, but our county workers, they're those guys that drive around in the county trucks. Yeah. They drive everywhere, and I give them the same cards, and I have several county workers that will just throw a washer someone brings to the road in the back of their truck, bring it to me. They make a quick 20 bucks or 15 if it's a dryer, and I get a decent amount of machines from the county workers.
So you said there's only a couple things that are wrong. What are just the highlights of the maybe top 2 or 3 things that are wrong with washers and then dryers, and just a quick overall, what's the fix? And also I do want to let everyone know that you have your own YouTube channel. You explain exactly how to fix the washers and dryers. So I'll link that below and someone can have a more detailed, but just a quick overview how you fix them.
Washers, nowadays there's a new type of washer which is kind of taken over. And it's the same type. You'll notice they'll have a little gray round button in the corner that has a pause play symbol and then 6 lights in the middle. It's extremely common. It's the cheap one at Home Depot and Lowe's. So it's the most common one. And it has this exact same 2 problems most of the time. It's either got the little suspension rods go bad and it makes the machine shake, or it's got the shifter that shifts it from agitate to spin cycle goes bad. And those 2 parts, like the shifter, I could get used on eBay for about 15 to 20 bucks, or brand new, I can get it for $30 off Amazon. The suspension rods, I have a fix for those, but I don't currently use it because I'm in the testing phase on how long the fix will work. So far, it's been 6 months. But you can get those suspension rods for about $30. And that's an extremely common fix on the new type machine. On the older washers, the one they used to make forever, the parts to fix where the water pump would go out, really easy. And they're always like $10 for a water pump, much cheaper parts, or the lid switch would go out. Someone would drop the door and break that little plastic lid switch, and the washer would think it's open all the time. And it's a kid safety feature. So if it's spinning, the kid can't just jump in. So the washer would literally will fill up with water and stop and just sit there. And everyone would just throw their washer out and be frustrated with it because it's full of water inside their house and it's hard to get out to the road. But that was the common for washers. On dryers, dryers are actually been the same since the 60s. So on a certain type of dryer, any dryer that has a filter that comes out the top of the machine has been made since the early 60s. And they're currently making it today. It's exactly the same dryer. Maybe the motor might be slightly different, but it's always the same thing. They get stopped up with lint on the inside, and then they throw what's called a thermal fuse, which is a little fuse that detects heat. So when it overheats, it pops that fuse before it catches on fire. The fuse is $5. So you clean the machine out, and then you put a new fuse in it. And a lot of times that's what's wrong. That's the most common thing to go wrong with a dryer.
You probably don't know this, but my washing machine actually broke about 3 weeks ago. I've hated it for a long time. I wanted a new one. I was very excited to have an excuse for a new one. I bought my new washing machine and they told me that it's going to cost $25 to haul the old one away. I've been kind of busy. I didn't want to deal with it. I put it out on Craigslist, broken washing machine, $25. A guy called, picked it up, and does exactly what you do. So this is the first time I've thought about that. I thought that's kind of a great idea. So people that are interested in doing this, is it something that you've done full time at any point, or has it always been kind of a side job?
I've always had a moving company as well, but definitely 2 years ago, my main business was definitely the appliance business.
I want to kind of know what people can expect to make if they're working real hard at. What's the most you've ever made in either a week or a month? Just, when everything kind of worked out perfect.
Right. Before the illness went through, I would normally always say the same answer, and it was tax return season. So people that get a tax return in and they can't afford a brand new washer and dryer set, which is very normal. A lot of people will get only $400 to $600, and that won't buy you a full set. So tax return season, January, when they actually get them in, is usually halfway through January. So that will begin busy season, and busy season will usually go until maybe a month and a half. People that really want their tax returns back will usually put them in the moment they can. So they'll start getting their money in. But during that time, I've actually never been able to keep up with the demand. I will sell out every single year. I'll make on that month to 2 months, I could always do about $8,000. And
Nice.
that's like not me killing myself either. That's profit too. That's not me killing myself, but throughout the rest of the year, there's still a regular demand for washer and dryers. It's just a really busy season during that time because everyone has money. And now with stimulus coming in, there's these weird pops that happen every once in a while when a stimulus check comes in as well.
So $8,000 a month on a business that someone can really start without very much money at all.
And especially if they wanted to go hardcore full time, you could absolutely do that. Just part time, me messing around, and I run several other businesses as well. I'm always able to make like a very slow month will be $2,000. 4,000 will probably be an average month that I could do.
Now you're saying that you buy them used and you warranty them. Are you still warranting them? And if so, how does that work? And do you ever have any issues with the warranty?
Sometimes, usually the issue comes up on their end. So a dryer, the hose going out of the house will be completely stopped up and it will pop that same little thermal fuse. That's why I really like to do deliveries. I push them up pretty hard to let me do deliveries. But I charge either $45 for deliveries or I'll deliver for free if they have a trade-in. That way I get an unlimited amount of inventory coming in. So I sell one, I get one back. So I always push for trade-ins really hard. Free warranty for 30 days, or I'll give them a 90-day warranty for $20.
Okay, so since you've been doing this for a while, you kind of got it down. Is there anything that sticks out that you've done that was a big mistake you kind of quit doing? Like any advice you can give to someone, here's what you don't want to do.
Front end load washers, they're just so expensive to fix for one thing. Sometimes it's something really easy. I'll still check them, but I will not waste time. A lot of my business is really about not wasting time. I'm not a repair guy that goes out and makes more money the longer the fix happens. So as a flipper, you have to really account for how much time the repair will cost, not so much what the part will cost. So if something takes me 4 hours to do, it's not worth it when I can fix a machine in 30 minutes. It's more worth it to me to pop the parts off that are good on the machine and either sell them on eBay or keep them as my inventory and have some free parts.
Is there anything that you've done or kind of like a secret or a tip where looking back, you're like, oh, that is just a great idea. I wish I would have thought of it before, that you can, any kind of advice, something kind of small.
When I first started off, I put out signs, literal yard signs I made up. And at that time, I was being very cheap, and I just made handmade signs saying I buy broken washers and dryers. Or I had one at one point that said buy, sell, trade washers and dryers. And I really didn't think that was going to work, but that got the word of mouth going really quickly and got me a lot of scrappers really quickly.
Nice.
That definitely kickstarted my business with signs. But now you can get signs printed so cheap. I didn't realize this. You can get like 100 signs on some of these websites for $200. And then the stakes are really honestly the expensive part. And you can just go to Lowe's and cut some sticks to stick in the ground. And in my area, if you're out of city limits, they don't get too upset about signs. If you are in, they will call you and tell you to pick it up, or they'll fine you. So you kind of have that, kind of feels bad, but you still got your word of mouth out there. But definitely, I would say signs. I also put gigantic signs on the side of my truck, like really big signs, not just on the door, but they're really big handmade signs that I made a nice, like whenever you see painters going down the road and have those big signs. I did that for a little while, and that also got my business jumpstart really quickly.
Great. Now, you said you have a trailer. So what if somebody wants to start this, but they don't have a trailer? They either have a truck or an SUV or something else. Is there a way that they can get going as well?
As long as you can pick them up. I mean, you wouldn't have to necessarily do deliveries. I recommend it because I always like to double check that everything is right when I deliver. Because if the wall, like say the washer is stopped up in the actual pipe, that the drain pipe, which I see that a lot, they'll try to blame you that the unit is leaking. It's actually stopped up. I've been delivering with a pickup truck forever. Pickup truck, a ramp, and a dolly. If you don't have that, you can get a small trailer, which is much lower to the ground and much easier to load on. And you can have a hitch hooked on your car really inexpensively. You can either get a kit and do it yourself, or I think U-Haul will also put trailer hitches on cars and just get a very small utility trailer.
Great. So this is something that's pretty easy. I know you said that the Craigslist is not big in your area. It's actually big in my area, and it is in some other areas. So if somebody does want to use Craigslist, what's the best way to start using them? And do you use any others like Facebook Marketplace or anything else offer up besides Craigslist?
Facebook Marketplace is the only thing. Craigslist was big in my area, then Marketplace came in, and it pretty much is just scammers that are on there now. So it's really dead. It's crazy to go through that. But when I was using Craigslist, I put so many ads on I buy, sell, trade washers and dryers. I was doing 2 a day for a long time, and I finally got kicked. And then I realized that if you do it as a dealer, you have to pay, I think it's $3 an ad or something like that. And I would do a lot less ads. I would only do about 2 a week, which was still fine. I didn't get anywhere near as much from that, but they would let you put anything you wanted to in the ad if you're paying Craigslist. So you could put any pictures you wanted to, my phone number on a picture, anything you want to when you're doing Craigslist and you do as a dealer. So that was a good, when you do get kicked off Craigslist eventually, you just do it as a dealer and know you had to pay for ads. Facebook, be extremely careful because there's no recovering of Facebook if they decide that you are scamming in any way. Putting your number on things is a good way to get kicked off permanently. When I put ads on, I am very careful. I only advertise that I'm selling a certain set. I try not to look like I have several sets. I'm very careful when it comes to Facebook Marketplace because I don't want to get kicked off.
Yeah, those sound like some very important tips. Is it that complicated to learn how to fix the machines, or is it something that pretty much anyone can learn just by watching a few videos? Because I know that you learned on YouTube.
Yeah, I went to YouTube University. If you're doing the easy machines, part and all, there's only a handful of fixes. Like it's kind of like being a mechanic that only works on old Ford trucks. You see the exact same thing over and over again. You'll get really good at fixing it after you do like the 10th one. But as for newer machines, especially like digital board stuff, it gets a lot more difficult, but I avoid those. I'm mainly in it for speed, how many I can fix. So I don't like buying those. or you can just scrap them out really quickly and sell the parts on eBay. There's a lot of money to be made taking parts off of washers and dryers and refrigerators and just selling them on eBay. So you don't even have to fix anything. Another channel, Ben's Appliances and Junk, he has a couple videos on that. He does that in a very large scale. And I don't do eBay anywhere near as much as he does, but I have eBayed some parts, and you can pull a part or two off of some washers and refrigerators and make a lot more money than you would reselling it. So it's another option, but it depends on if you like eBay. But you could also, there's another channel that he sells a course, Appliance Boot Camp. And I've never taken his course, but I know him personally. He seems like a really nice guy, and everyone says his course is great. And he teaches more how to be a all-around repair guy for, going out to do jobs. But, with those skills, you could also flip as well. And you could also go out, and there's a lot of money being made doing that too, going out and actually doing repairs. Those guys make between 50 and 100 an hour.
This is a good way to earn money with just a little bit of work. Now, what does somebody do if they live, let's say they live in an apartment, or they don't have a place to repair? Is this still something that they could do, or do you have to have a house with an area to fix these in?
You could get a storage unit, which around my area, you can rent storage units that have power and water at them. They're mainly used for shops, for businesses, but every once in a while they'll come up and you can just rent them. There are actually 2 people around me in my area that literally sell out of storage units and repair out of storage units. So you could do that if you're in an area that has enough storage places and they offer that.
So there's literally no excuse. If somebody wants to do it, they can just start their own business.
Oh yeah, but the nicest thing is to have a garage. If you have a garage, get the car out of the garage and just set it up, and you can make a lot. You could sell directly out of there. For a long time, I was sold out of a consignment shop. So I do all my repairs at my house and I would bring them to a consignment shop. The consignment shop would take 10%, which is fair to me. They're loading up, and they usually charge per square foot that you rent. And I was paying $50 for my booth there, and I would always keep about 6 machines up there. And it was nice because they're open 7 days a week. They were open early in the morning. All I'd have to do is bring my washers and dryers up there. If someone wanted the delivery, they would call me. They'd collect my delivery fee for me. And I just drive up there right before they close, load up all the deliveries and do the deliveries.
So you're making money every which way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you can do so much more when you have a consignment shop, because it's like having very inexpensive employees. Someone just taking 10%. Oh my gosh, that's versus own a storefront.
That's good. All right. Well, I think you've given us a great overview. Is there anything else that you want to add or say to people that are thinking about doing this?
Just give it a try. I would start off with literally go on either Craigslist or Facebook and just buy underpriced appliances. I avoid refrigerators and heavy things because I'm by myself. But if you have a partner, it might be something you want to try. But first, see if you like it by buying working stuff first. And then when you want to make more money at it, you can move on to broken stuff. And if you've ever been to a scrapyard, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of appliances that are just thrown away. And it's a very green thing to do if you want to save the planet. I've taken more scrap metal out of the scrap fields and out of the regular landfills than probably anyone you know. So this is a great way if you want to be green and do that kind of stuff. You can always check out my channel. My channel literally is dedicated to teaching people how to get into appliance flipping. So you can check out Washer Dryer Money.
I'll be linking that down below. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we will see you next time.
All right. We'll see you later.